Good morning. So, now everything is said and done, and I finally have spoken to, I think, almost everybody talked to about, my getting a new job and all that good stuff. And for the most part, everybody is, you know, I, I seem okay with, well, it's not being okay. It's not about a matter of being okay or not. It's more like, making a nice exit from like their recruitment processes. And most of them are okay. And like I told them what I usually say, which is, let's talk in a year or two or something like that, and see if things, if like there's any reason for us to have a discussion about it then. Because that's me. I usually think in terms of a year or two when it comes to a new job, and usually then that's usually the trend for me, because that's about as much time as it takes for me to learn all the things at a company. And then the question becomes, okay, do I stick with this, or do I want to try something else and see if I can get some change of scenery and learn a new thing. I don't know, I've never been very good at dedicating everything I am and like all my time and interest into one single thing. I have to diverse a taste for things. I've always I don't know. I've been told so many times by people that you only get one shot at at success, or at being really good at something. And I always felt like that's that's too much pressure, if that makes sense. It's just, why would I, maybe some people are like that, but not me. Like, I can't put everything into one single thing and just be happy with that thing, because sooner or later there's going to be something that's equally interesting that comes along. So what I usually say to that is that, okay, well, that's not the way that I live my life. I simply try to be as good as I can at all the things that I love, and that way I have more than one shot. If I fail at one thing, or I don't feel like I can get very far in that direction, I'll simply pick another direction, and then I'll see if I can do something with that. I've always done it like that. I mean, if I can't get it's the way that I stay happy the longest, or I've found that that's the way that I am at my happiest. I simply figure out all the things that are, I get to know yourself, learn what it is that you like in life, and then pursue all of those things at the same time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy, but usually it doesn't feel that way, because these things usually give energy, and that's a good measurement to learn what it is that you really like. If something gives energy, then it's a positive thing. If it takes energy, cut it out of your life immediately. People who take energy, or things that take energy, just cut them out, because like the older you get, the less of it you have, which means that you have less of it to waste. Anywho, I was once again trying to get my Java Enterprise on, and in essence it has been 5 years roughly. Now, I'm not going to say that I've been doing a lot of Java development in these 5 years, but I've been coding at a fairly professional level for as a professional for 3 years, and I was in school for 2 years. And in all of this time, I still can't just set up a REST service with the Java Enterprise application. I can put up a servlet, but if I want to use JAX RS, or like the RS library from Java 7, I can't get it to work. Not on the first try. Even if I follow the fucking tutorials, even then there's some issue or there's some problem with that version of Glassfish, and Tomcat doesn't support. I really want to know. I'm gonna be honest. I'm so frustrated. I want to know who the people who are saying that, oh, it's much like it's better to use Java than Node because it's it's stable and it's always compatible. All that bullshit is just bullshit. It is such bullshit. If you're telling me that it's at least, and I'm gonna be honest here, at least if I download Node to my system, put up a single entry point file, like my server file, dotless, and the basic boilerplate of running a fucking service, it works on the first go on every single system I've ever used it on. I have never in my life, even when I first started all these years ago, first time I tried to run a Node server, it worked on the first try. That has never, not a single time worked on a Java setup. Running Eclipse and all that stuff. I mean, setting the thing up is easy, and serving a JSP file or something like of that nature from Eclipse through Tomcat or something like that. That's easy peasy. Getting that up and running always works. But as soon as you want to do something a little bit different, or something that literally is not just the first thing that's coming out of the box when you set these things up, it gets tricky. And this is why all of the horrible pain and misery that I felt in school over Java, because the one thing I don't like about Java, and trust me, I like Java, I really like it. It's actually my ambition that, okay, so my next job now, which at my services, I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun, because we're gonna do a lot of Scala and like that stuff. I mean, it's Java based, and it's the reason I wanted to take the job in the first place. But what is gonna come up next is that if for some reason I feel like, hey, now it's time to switch jobs, it's very likely that I'm gonna see if I can be a Java consultant, and get really good at Java Enterprise. So don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't like Java. It is that it is such a... I feel like I'm on the outside all the time in that fucking language. I feel like I need to be in this special club of people who sat down, experimented until they fucking understood how all these subtle, hard to figure out things work. Like the configuration, all of that getting started with Java is so difficult. And don't tell me it's not, because if it was so easy, then somebody, I'm not saying that I'm the best coder in the world, because I'm not, but I would think that after several years of working and several other languages, I mean, I got started with Ruby in a second. Go, which is a fucking system level language, was also very easy to get started with. But that's just not the case for Java. It's just not the case. Yes, if you want to put up a main method, and just run a program, a hello world application in Java is super trivial. It absolutely is. But anything fancier than that is not just standard, when I say standard, I mean like Java SE, like 1.5, something like that, which is like the default for most things. I don't know, that was the last time I had something that always worked. So I don't know, it feels like I'm missing something all the time when I'm trying to put things up in that language. And my little rant about this is basically trying to boil down to that there is a very large amount of people, I would assume, that are looking to get started with these technologies, and we can't. Like, if you look at least in Express and Node, and not in Node and JavaScript in general, I mean, look at React. You have all these projects like Generate React apps, and like there are these accessibility projects trying to make things easier on the people who want to set these things up, and I just don't see that in Java or .NET. I'm not gonna say too much about C# because it might be easier on C#. It's that language is on my to-do list. Like, I'm not a fan of this lock-in idea, but I do want to, as I said, like I don't want to dismiss something just because I'm not using it all that much. I want to be able to, be diverse enough to use it anyway. But yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say here is that I think that if it takes so much energy to just get something set up, I mean, if you want to have it running, maybe it's much like it is stable and it's great that you can deploy it to every server and it's always going to work the same. But I think that this myth, because it is a myth, oh yeah, it's so easy to run these things and it's so easy to maintain, and all these classical things that Java people say about their platform, and other people as well, not just Java people, like that, all these problems that they claim that JavaScript has, it's just not true. Like the diversity argument, that's not true. Have you ever tried, like, at least if you search for a node package, it's not named javax.qrt.something. At least you fucking know what it is about. That's not the same. It's not the case in Java. In Java, you actually, everything is abbreviated. Things are abbreviated, and you like the obscure. There's a more obscurity included in every package. For one. So, and the diversity, I mean, I do a search on the Maven repository, I see quite a few. Like, what's even worse is that if you take a Maven archetype, and this I love, some of them have the same artifact name, or a lot of them have a very similar or almost identical artifact name. So in order to know which one you're going for, you have to look at the organization information, which is also another thing that is a little bit more obscure. I'm just saying that I don't buy, or I don't agree with the people who give criticism to Node for being this diverse ecosystem that, they call it chaos, and I'm like, take a look. I could take an objective look at the Java ecosystem and tell me it's not chaos. Just because the industry has more or less standardized on a few select packages doesn't mean that it's not bad, or that it's that much greater. I don't know what where this is coming from, because that's the same thing for Node. Yes, there are a lot more packages in JavaScript than in Java, but even in Java as well, there are packages that are so popular and all so standardized that they behave the same way as parts of the Java core library. They are basically the same, and these are in Essence Express, Mocha, just now coming up as well. What else? Well, for the boilerplate, so body parser. The renderers are there are a few renderers to pick from as well. Most of us, I think, are still using EGS or Swig maybe. And like what I'm saying is that I don't see the big difference there. I really don't. The only real to me, the only real difference between Java and JavaScript in terms of development experience, apart if we just exclude the obvious stuff such as typing and all that good stuff and threading and all those things, if you exclude that, the experience is that once it's very easy for you to package and distribute a Java application. I agree. I think it's very easy to do that. But I also think that in terms of getting started and getting something up quickly and like being very rapid and be able to rapidly develop things, I think Node beats Java every day of the week. And maybe that's an experience thing, I don't know. But once again, like if I can get started and build production level code with almost like with 1 year of experience in JavaScript, and I can basically not even get certain things up and running in Java with 5 years, then something's wrong. And I want to believe that it's not just my fault.